on digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Expect the unexpected.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
So, time for our monthly check-in on the Penguins. Last time we talked was the beginning of January, and they had a pretty rough December. I think that was the month where they kept giving up. Was that the month when they gave up like third period leads like every single game or something like that? It was a complete disaster.
Not even like one goal leads either, like 3-4 goal leads.
Right,
yeah.
Right. They'd be leading 4-0 going into the third period and lose 5-4 or something like that. It was the most ridiculous thing ever. But then January happened, and I believe they went 11-4 or something like that. And man, they looked good. Is it safe to say, I mean, with I don't know how much of the season that's gone, is it safe to say that the Penguins are at least a playoff contender?
Yeah, I would say so. I think they've played 55 games now. So, more than halfway through the season, they're firmly in a playoff spot. And, when you look at the history of teams that are in a playoff spot after, 50 games, the percentages are really good that you're going to make the playoffs. That being said, Monday's game, they kind of laid an egg. And then yesterday's game, they played well, but the goaltending let them down, which was the first time that the goaltending has really let them down. But, some of those old habits are creeping back in the last two games, even the last three games, when you think about the Ranger game, how they almost blew it at the end. So definitely things they can work on, but, overall, hard to find many areas to complain about with this team.
I don't count the Rangers game because it was such an emotional, weird situation. You bring the anniversary of, I can't believe it's been 10 years since they won a cup.
It's crazy.
You bring the players out. It's so weird that Sullivan was there as a coach of another team now, and he goes to join them, and Sidney's crying.
Sidney's crying. Connor Sherry's standing there in his winter coat because he's not even dressed for the game for the Rangers, but he's out there standing, amongst the Penguins players. That had to be really awkward for Sherry and Sullivan, especially. And then, had to walk back to the other bench and coach a game after that.
Yeah. Hey, it's a wonderful thing we did. Now let's go kick each other's butt. Isn't Connor Sherry Sullivan's son-in-law or something?
Yes. Yeah. Well, and then the other weird thing too was Rust was suspended, but he was out there, and Letang has a broken foot, and he's out there. Like, it was just
right.
Weird mishmash of strange coincidence, scenarios.
It was. So I don't count that game because that was like weird circumstances. The Ottawa game, I think that's just. Sometimes you just lay an egg. Sometimes you just don't have it, and the entire team just did not have it. But they responded well against the Islanders in a huge game, and they played really well, and they should have won. But like you said, the goaltending let them down. Skinner seems to be up and down, and I think that's his. I think that's what he's been throughout his career. He's been really good, and then he gets really bad. I mean, but overall, we got to be happy with him, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that seems to be his MO over the course of his career. He just has like real hot streaks, and then he has some streaks where you're like, I don't know about this guy. People have been talking that maybe they should sign him to a contract extension just for in the next year. Could be like a tandem of him and Miroshov. Shilov's is under contract too, so I don't know how that would work out. But people are saying like, hey, maybe they should re-sign him. I don't know. we'll see how the season ends up. But yeah, I mean, overall, he's been really good. And that was the first game where I really thought like he could have stolen the game for them, or not even stolen the game. I thought they played well enough to win. He just let in probably 2 goals that he would love to have back, I'm sure. So yeah, it's just been up until the game on Monday, the Penguins actually had the best goals against average since the Christmas break of any team in the NHL. So that
and one of the best records, right?
Yeah, and they up until Monday they had the longest point streak and the longest winning streak. It's just funny, you could look at games on the schedule in August when the schedule comes out, or whenever it is, I think it's July or August, and you could already tell that game is one they'll probably lose. When I look at that schedule and I see a Monday night game in the middle of winter against Ottawa, where they're playing the next night in New York, I could have almost guaranteed you that they were going to lose that game, regardless of, I didn't even know who was on the roster in August. And you just look at the schedule and there's always a game. It's usually against like a nondescript team like Ottawa. Usually it's against like there always seems to be a Monday night game in December against Calgary for some reason. But
yeah.
But I don't know. Like I said that to somebody and he sitting next to me in the press box. I said, like, before the game even started, I said, I looked at this game on the calendar and I just feel like they're going to lose this game, even though they've won 6 in a row. And sure enough, they laid an egg.
I'm sure they were probably thinking about the game the next day anyway, because it was so important. Also, we're a few days from the Olympic break. So people have to be thinking, it's just human nature. You got to be thinking about, taking almost a month off, or if you're going to be playing in the Olympics or whatever. So their mind was probably elsewhere. I mean, but the weird thing about that Ottawa game is Shilov's almost saved them. like Shilov's played out of his mind, and they almost salvaged a point from that.
They probably should have lost that game by 5 or more goals, and he was their best player by far. And Dan Muse even said so after the game, which was pretty obvious in watching the game. He was their best player. But yeah, to your point, I think Erik Karlsson played the worst game of his season on Monday night. He was only credited with 2 giveaways. I had about 5 or 6 down on my little cheat sheet of paper that I keep during a game. He had a really bad game. And to your point, he's probably thinking about the Olympics. I thought, Raquel was okay, but, it wasn't one of his better games. Maybe he's thinking about the Olympics. I thought Sidney Crosby was completely absent on Monday night, which, not a criticism. Everybody has a bad game. I'm not criticizing Sidney Crosby. Don't send me hate tweets. But he had a rough game, and hey, it happens. When you've won 6 games in a row, you're due for a stinker game or a letdown game. So, but that game tomorrow night in Buffalo, or Thursday night in Buffalo, is really important, and it's a kind of measuring stick game in a way, because Buffalo has been one of the hottest teams in the league, and let's hope that they don't overlook that game going into the Olympic break.
Yeah, wow. Buffalo's finally good.
Yeah.
Their 20-year rebuild finally worked. So seems like they were in a rebuild forever, but yeah, they're 3rd in the Atlantic. Penguins are 2nd in the Metro, and they have to keep that standing in the Metro. They can't wade in those wild card waters and end up playing the Lightning or something like that. That would be frightening.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you look at it from a Penguins fan perspective, they would all be happy just to make the playoffs, because I don't think anybody was expecting anything higher than like the 8th seed this year going into the season. But at the same time, yeah, you would like to avoid playing Tampa Bay or Carolina in the first round if at all possible.
It's funny. We were just, there have been times when we talked, it's like, can they even make the playoffs? And I mean, at the beginning of the season, we're talking about lottery picks and stuff,
Yeah.
and here we're mad because they only won 6 of 7 or something like that. So, it's expectations have changed. It is just, I mean, when I see them play and when I see them like rack up like a whole bunch of goals in a game, it's like I just completely did not expect this, and it's just such a wonderful surprise. I mean, we were talking about, should they trade Sid because he's not happy being on a stinker team, and now looks like they're going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, the crazy thing about that statement there is Crosby's line hasn't been doing much, and it's the other lines that have been, getting the bulk of the goals. I mean, they definitely looked out of sorts without Rust while he was serving his suspension. I think that kind of contributed to the lack of production from that line. But I have no worries about the Sidney Crosby line being there and being productive. But it's been, great to see that they're getting production from the fourth line, the third line, and that line with Gino and Chino. They're quite a pair, and Tommy Novak is no slouch on that line either.
Well, let's talk about Chino. What the heck? I can't believe this might be the heist of the century. Someone might have to arrest Kyle Dubas for theft, because he basically got Chinakhov for nothing. And it's clear he is an awesome talent and he's doing great. And the funny thing is, they got him because he didn't get along with the Columbus coach, who they fired a week or two later.
Yep.
If they just kept him, he probably would be doing this for them, and the Columbus is doing well too. So, what is going? I mean, did the Penguins just find a major steal?
Absolutely. I think since Columbus has changed their coach, I think they're like 8-1 or 9-1. It's crazy. They're chasing the Penguins for the second and third place. The Penguins and Islanders for second and third place in the division. I mean, I compared it on Twitter the other day to, some people were probably too young to remember this, but when the Penguins traded Marcus Naslund to the Canucks for a guy named Alex Stoyanov, I mean, that's how lopsided this trade is. I think Alex Stoyanov played like one season with the Penguins and got injured in a car accident of all things, and really never played again. But he was more of like a goon, like fighter type of player. And Marcus Naslund went on
practically
to
Hall of Famer.
Yeah, he got his number retired by the Canucks. So, but this time the Penguins were the team not getting fleeced. But yeah, it's just crazy that they just, essentially gave up on this guy and traded him to a team in the division.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just weird. The other crazy thing about that line is Malkin's on the wing.
Yeah.
And it's working. And Novak's a center, and it's just it's probably the Penguins' best line.
Yeah, right now that is their top line. And I think it's actually helping Malkin playing on the wing. It's less responsibility. It's less skating, which also means less opportunity to turn the puck over, less opportunity to miss your assignment. And, it is what it is. He's 39 years old. He was never going to be out there killing penalties and being relied upon in defensive situations. But especially now that he's 39 years old, that's tough skating up and down the ice and taking all those face-offs and, the responsibility that comes along with being a center. So I think this is a great move for Malkin. I would not be surprised if the Penguins signed him to another 1-year deal. I know supposedly his agent and Dubas are going to talk during the Olympic break here. I think he's rejuvenated playing with Chinakhov. And I heard something crazy this morning. This is the first time he's ever played with a Russian winger in his
I was going to say
career.
that. Is that crazy? Yeah. In all his years, he's never played with a Russian. That's insane.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously had, Gonchar on the point when he, was first on the team in the early years. But that's, all the wingers that he's had in the course of his career. I can't believe that he had never played with a Russian winger before. So this is I'm sure he's enjoying it, and he just looks totally rejuvenated out there.
And kudos to him for agreeing to that. He could
Yeah.
have had an ego by, how dare you even suggest I could be a wing? I'm always a center. How dare you demean me like this or something like that? No, he was fine with it. He's like, I'll do anything for you guys. I was like, great.
Yeah.
And he's dealing with an injury, so this break will be nice for him.
Yeah, and I think the last time we talked that we were speculating, like, is he not playing center because he's still injured and can't take the faceoffs? But now I think it's more of like, this is just kind of the way that they want to formulate that line. And I mean, Malkin, I think most people are aware, he said that he wanted to play with Tommy Novak in this past offseason. So, I mean, he's playing with his buddy from Russia and a guy that he wanted to play with. I think he's pretty happy on that line.
Yeah. It seems like in hockey, when a team fires their coach in the middle of the season, they automatically go like on a hot streak. I mean, the Penguins won cups when they fired their coach in the middle of the season, like twice. So it's like, it's just I don't know if it's just a weird thing that you were just. It just seems to happen a lot in hockey. It's like, I don't think that happens in other sports. I don't see that happening in NFL or baseball or something like that. Like
no,
wow, you must really hate that guy.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Like, you just need to hear a different voice, or in some cases it's a completely different system. But you're right. It seems like more so in hockey than any other sport, changing the coach in mid-season just makes a world of difference, and it's certainly paying off for Columbus right now.
Yeah. Another move the Penguins made January 20th, they acquired Ilya Solovyov from Colorado for Valtteri Puustinen and a 2026 seventh round draft pick. How's he been doing? I don't think he's been playing that much, but he has been playing lately.
Yeah, with the injuries to the Letang and Graves on defense, he's kind of been forced into duty, and he's been playing really well. He had a unfortunate thing happen last night where he screened Skinner on a shot, but you can't fault the defenseman for that. I mean, I thought he played actually a really solid game last night. When this move first happened, I actually thought he's going to be probably go to Wilkes-Barre and, probably be, if he is up here, just scratch most nights. But he's actually really kind of settled into that sixth kind of defenseman on the third pair. And he's been solid. I mean, he's not been flashy. I liked it on Saturday. I forget who it was, got hit pretty hard, and he went right up to Rempe, who hit, I forget who it was that he hit. And he obviously wasn't going to fight Rempe, but he gave him a couple of good shots with his stick and took a penalty for it. And, he's done that a couple of times, like kind of coming to the aid of some of his teammates. And I like that about him as well. So I think that was another just solid, like, under the radar move. And I think he's, kind of fit right in as that bottom pair defenseman.
It's nice that the philosophy has changed. It seemed like with Sullivan, they didn't want any physical players, any players that were hard nosed or anything like that, and it looks like that philosophy has changed, so that's nice. So the trade freeze was 3 p.m. today, and that was actually a big deal. Panarin went to the Kings. That's interesting. I did not see the Rangers being a complete dumpster fire. It makes their decision to trade. So they traded their first round draft pick last year or whatever this previous offseason instead of next year's. That's good for them because the Penguins could have ended up with a lottery pick.
Yeah, that was an interesting move. Only because, like, everything I was reading, I had not seen the Kings name pop up. I was seeing like the Hurricanes and some other teams like that. But that was such a weird situation. I think he sat out like 4, maybe even 5 games. Like, the Rangers are like, we're just not going to play you until we trade you. And it's like okay, that's kind of weird, but I guess they just kind of have already waved the white flag that we're not making the playoffs this year, and we're just don't want to risk him getting hurt. But yeah, I thought Sullivan would actually go in and fix the Rangers. I thought they would be a playoff team. I didn't think they would be a cup contender, but I definitely thought they were going to be a playoff team. And they're just so bad. They can't score goals. Now, Sorokin getting hurt and, Quick having to play a lot of the games, and then they have another kid playing. That certainly doesn't help when you're, essentially he's your best player. And, when your best player is your goalie and he gets hurt, that doesn't help. But yeah, I just never saw them being the worst team in the Eastern Conference. And I think that maybe the situation in the Rangers locker room was worse than, the reports were. I don't know. It's just hard to explain. But when you watch the Rangers, there's a lot of similarities to things that they're doing wrong that the Penguins were doing wrong in the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I will always respect and love Mike Sullivan for what he did for them. We would not have gotten those cups without his coaching. But I think he should have been gone years ago. I don't think his method it just didn't work anymore. I mean, maybe when he gets his kind of players or whatever, and maybe that's a problem. But yeah, I mean, it was just I mean, among other things, the reasons why the Penguins are doing so well now is I think because they have a new coach.
Oh, absolutely. And by the way, I said Sorokin earlier.
Sorokin, yeah.
Yeah, it's just Sorokin. The
wrong New York goalie.
Yeah, wrong New York goalie. Yeah, I think they're going to have a fire sale in New York, or for the Rangers anyway. There's just no. I think they just have like a mishmash of like too many veterans, and they need just like the Penguins. Like they have a very similar team to what the Penguins had the last couple of years, where they have a bunch of veterans that they think are good enough to be a contender, and they just weren't. And it's like kind of Sullivan's kind of in the same scenario that he was here. He probably went there thinking he's going to coach like a veteran group, and now he's probably going to be starting over next year with a rebuild.
Funny. I think that's what he didn't want to deal with Pittsburgh, and now he's dealing with that now.
Yeah.
It doesn't help when wasn't Alexis Lafreniere the number 1 overall pick, and he's basically been a bust. And they gave him a big contract. That didn't help. I understand even Vince Trocheck is might be traded. Like,
yeah, I don't think there's any untouchables other than the goaltender on that team.
Crazy. So now there's a trade freeze. They can't. I guess there could be no trades for a couple weeks. But they return to games February 26th, and the trade deadline is March 6th. So I have to imagine there's going to be rust coming back. It's just most of the players are not going to be playing that much, so it's just going to be probably awkward those first few games, right?
Yeah, and you're not talking about Brian Rust. You're talking about actual Rust.
I was thinking
that. I think now this was 12 years ago that the last time the players were in the NHL players were in the Olympics, but I do seem to recall those first couple of games back were pretty sloppy. So we'll see. I could be completely wrong about this, but I feel like a lot of the trades that were going to happen have already happened because of this freeze. And like you just said, there's only like a week to figure out these trades once play resumes. So, every trade deadline, there's like a flurry of activity, but I think some of the bigger trades, as evidenced by the Panarin trade, have already happened. You'll probably see a lot of like lesser trades, like, some of these bigger names that are floating out there, like Robertson. I just can't see Dallas trading him when they're like a Stanley Cup contender.
Right. Right.
I think they just kind of deal with that in the offseason. But, we shall see. But, I think the bigger trades have probably already happened. And then, once these guys get back from the Olympics, it's a sprint to the finish, man. They play, I think, 4 games and no, it can't be that many. Probably 2 games at the end of February. I think the 26th and the 28th, and then 17 games in 31 days in March. That
literally
is
a game every other day.
Yeah.
So if you like hockey, you're going to get a lot of it in March.
Yeah, and you're probably going to see a lot of injuries.
Probably. Yeah. I mean, that's, it's cool that they're doing this, but it just stinks that it's in the middle of the season and just disrupts everything. And I mean, they've been playing a lot of games before this too. It's like, it's just a weird situation.
It's a really, really compressed schedule. And, like, obviously you don't ever want to see anybody get hurt, but maybe this time off for like Chris Letang and when Malkin was out for a little while, maybe that'll be beneficial to them. Again, don't want to see anybody get hurt. I'm not saying it's a good thing that these guys got hurt. I'm just saying, in the grand scheme of like, the grind of the season, maybe it's good that they, have some rest, plus the Olympic break.
Yeah. Is Russia not allowed to play? Is that okay? So because of the whole, whatever, they haven't been allowed to do anything Olympic related for years now. So, okay.
Yeah, it was at first they got banned because of the way they treat their athletes. And I don't know if that's still the reason or, the whole, war in the Ukraine thing that's happening, which is a terrible thing. But, I'm not sure the exact reason why, but yeah, they're not participating in the Olympics this year.
Do you think the Penguins will do anything at the trade deadline by either adding or subtracting? I mean, they do have players that are on expiring contracts. I mean, Skinner, Kulak, Anthony Mantha, Clifton, they're all going to be free agents. Do you see any of them going, or do you see them making any additions?
I could see a guy like Kevin Hayes getting traded just because he's been a healthy scratch for, I think, 8 games in a row now. And I think he could be a useful player to somebody. Then again, he's a depth forward and, there's going to be injuries. So I don't know. Maybe more of like a minor move. Like they've got Matt Dumba down in Wilkes-Barre. Maybe a team's looking for a 7th defenseman or something like that. Like I said, the Penguins could use some, right-handed defensive help, depth more than, I wouldn't say help, but depth. There's always the chance of getting like a role player. The Penguins' fourth line has been so good. I don't know if they really need to mess with the chemistry of any of these lines, really.
Right. I mean, they're all working. They're all doing well. So.
I mean, when you think about it, Dubas has already made his moves, getting I can't pronounce his name either. Yeah,
him.
Yeah, and Chinakhov. I think he's pretty much made the moves he's going to make. Like I said, there could be like a minor deal with like Kevin Hayes or Dumba or one of the guys in the minors, but I just I don't see any big major moves coming. No.
It's crazy. It's just absolutely crazy. I just can't believe we're in this situation that we're talking about playoff spots and stuff like that. It's a wonderful surprise. And I mean, almost everything Dubas has done has turned to gold this season. And it's just amazing. If he doesn't win GM of the year or whatever that prize is, then there's something wrong.
I mean, every free agent signing that he made they're having like a career year. Right. and I mean, even the Tristan Jarry contract that he signed him to 5 years, and you're like, oh man, they're never gonna get out of this. He pulled a rabbit out of his hat and not only got a starting goaltender for the rest of this season,
Who's playing well.
Yeah, he's playing well, a solid defenseman in Kulak, and a second-round pick. For a guy like we talked about the last time, that any team in the NHL could have picked up for free last year when he was on waivers.
Right.
So, I mean, that was the one bad contract that I thought that he signed, and he basically got rid of it. I know we still have the Graves, or the Penguins still have the Graves contract that they're dealing with, but he's coming off IR. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow, but he's played better. I mean, he's definitely not playing up to the money that he signed for in the contract, but he's been better this season to the point where maybe he could be traded. The Penguins would have to eat some of that salary, but potentially he could be moved. So we'll see. But I mean, yeah, I mean, if he's not in consideration for GM of the year, there's something wrong.
Every time I look at the Penguins salary cap situation, I laugh because there's still Jack Johnson on the books. Making almost $1 million. This is the last year of the Jack Johnson buyout. That was like 5 years ago or something like that. Like, it's so dumb. It's like yes, you can buy a contract in the NHL, but you pay a stiff penalty. Oh my goodness,
it's crazy. If you go onto the Puckpedia website and look at some of the dead contracts that other teams are paying in addition to the one you just mentioned, you're like, that guy's still getting paid. I think Rob. I don't quote me on this. I think Robin Leonard is still getting paid by the Vegas Golden Knights.
I was just looking at Tristan Jarry's stats. Oof.
Yeah, he also called out the team the other day in an interview, saying that they need to play better defense in front of them.
Man,
not a good look when you've only played maybe 10 games for your new team and you're already calling
right. That's what I think. When every goalie comes in, it doesn't do well. It's not the goalie's fault. Maybe there is an issue, because I mean, and meanwhile here, Stu is popular. Everybody chants Stu, and and Kindle is still doing great. Now, he used to be on a kid line, and now he's on a line with two giants, and that's still going well.
I love that line because he has no fear. As you saw last night, he went right to the net, and they thought they scored, but it wouldn't have counted anyway because he was basically on top of the goaltender. But he has no fear to begin with, the way he plays, and just watching him. But playing with those two towers on either side of him, he has even more of a no fear in, I don't know how to put it, but
that would make someone bold, that for sure, when you have giants next to you.
It's like when Boko Imama was in the lineup for the Penguins, everybody was skating a little bit taller, but I just love the way he plays, and he just seems dangerous every time he has the puck. Like anytime him or Chinakhov have the puck, it's like something's going to happen here. Something good's going to happen. I think that's a great fit on that line. And, he just continues to score. It's too bad the Penguins only visit Vancouver once a year, because he played the game of his life when they were up there, scoring 2 goals. And he probably could have had 4 the way he was playing in front of all of his family and friends. But
he brought like 200 people or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was like 182 people. He's probably playing for free the rest of the season. I
didn't have that many people at my wedding.
Yeah,
my goodness. Yeah, and he's 18. How many people?
I was going to say,
know?
When I was 18, I probably didn't know that many people.
I didn't know that many. It was like if I brought like my entire school or something like that. But how do you know these people? It was really cute. Like he would score a goal and the whole section would erupt or something.
Yeah,
that was great.
But, he's been great, and I think that there's nothing but upside potential for him.
He was a draft pick this year.
Yeah,
It just doesn't happen. You're just supposed to wait years and years for these people, and he's contributing right now. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's just like everything is kind of fallen into place. And by no means am I saying they're a Stanley Cup contender or anything like that, but there is something there are a lot of things to like about this roster.
Yeah. Speaking of rosters, I'm looking at the Team Canada roster, and yes, they have amazing forwards and amazing defensemen, but their goalies are Jordan Bennington, Darcy Kemper, and Logan Thompson. What's going on? Don't this is the hockey country. Don't you supposed to have better goalies than this?
They haven't had good goaltending in a while. I'm surprised they didn't ask Marc-Andre Fleury to come play.
Seriously.
I mean, obviously Bennington's won a cup, but the Blues this year are having a really tough year. Thompson was on IR. I think he's going to be taken off IR and might play tomorrow. And Darcy Kemper, I mean, he's an okay goalie, but, it doesn't wow anybody. Really, I mean, I guess the U.S. might have the best goaltending because they have Hellebuck, but the Jets are one of the worst teams in the league this year. So
yeah.
Who knows? It's going to be interesting, but yeah, Canada, for whatever reason, they have not produced great goaltenders in a long time, and that might be their Achilles heel. I mean, when you look at their forward and defensive pairings, you're like, who's going to beat these guys?
Right.
Then you look at their goaltending, you're like, well, maybe that's how you beat them. You just get a lot of shots on net and traffic in front.
I mean, you've got a team with Crosby, McKinnon, and McDavid, and Cale Makar. Yeah, you're doing all right. So, yeah, I'm not gonna shed any tears. Oh, good. Tom Wilson's on that team too. Yay! Great. Sydney and Tom Wilson playing together. That'll go great. You know what? Just out of instinct, Tom Wilson's probably going to cross-check his own teammate.
I could see that. Yeah.
I'm looking at Sweden's team. It's like, they're okay. Looks like it's basically between US and Canada. It's I just hope the arena is completed and that the lights stay on. Apparently there's power outages already. Like,
yeah, they're having a lot of issues. I read, now this was about a month ago, they played a scrimmage game on the ice surface that they just put down, and like a sinkhole formed in the middle of it.
There was a hole, and the scoreboard was basically the size of an iPad. Like okay, this was nice in 1972, but I think we progressed a little bit since then.
Maybe they're trying to recreate like the dot matrix scoreboard from like Lake Placid or something, like for nostalgia.
Yeah. Oh well. Should be interesting. So where can people find you, follow you, and get more of your work?
You could find me on Twitter at PGHVC, and I've been doing a lot of writing recently for Pittsburgh Hockey Now. I actually just put an article up there. It's a history of Penguins radio broadcast. It's just I got nostalgic on Saturday hearing all those Mike Lang goal calls from the 2016 Stanley Cup. And I kind of fell down a rabbit hole. And before I knew it, I had written an article about the history of the Penguins radio and what all the different flagship stations they've been on and all the different announcers they've had over the years. And it's a interesting journey for sure. I mean, it's at one point they were on a station 1080 AM, which is now like a Christian contemporary station. And, they were on KQV for a while, and then 1250, and then for like one season in 1979 they were on 3WS, and then went back to 3WS in the 90s, and it's been really interesting journey. And so I hope people go read it. It's posted up now on Pittsburgh Hockey Now's website.
I know, on the TV side there have been more regional networks they've been on since then I don't know than trees in the world or something. It just that just changes all the time. I was listening to the radio that game against the Rangers when they were doing the ceremony with the 10-year anniversary, and Phil Bork got emotional because they were playing goal calls of Mike Lang, and he's like, I miss Mike, and I was also getting emotional. Mike Lang there's two reasons I'm a hockey fan and a Penguins fan. One of them is Mike Lang, and one of them is Mario Lemieux, and I grew up on Mike Lang. Now at the time, I believe it was in the 80s, it was 1020 KDKA. I believe that's what it was on the radio.
Right. Yeah, they had 3 different stints on KDKA, and I think at that time that was one of them.
Yeah.
But I got a little emotional too when I was hearing those Mike Lang goal calls. By no means were we good friends or anything, but I had some nice conversations with Mike Lang over the years. What a great guy and a nice guy that he was. And obviously I also grew up listening to Mike Lang goal calls, and it was the thrill of a lifetime for me to get to meet him and talk with him, and sit in the same booth as him sometimes, when I would do the in-between periods with Brian Metzer. And I definitely miss him, and he was one of a kind, that's for sure.
Didn't he have the same headphones for 40 years or something like that? He had like these old school, like it looked like something from the 60s. It was insane.
And I think that's why he always sounded like he was broadcasting like it was 1960 or 70. But when I would go in to do the in-between periods with Brian Metzer on occasion, you did not touch Mike Lang's headset. There was another headset over here for you, and you did not you didn't even look in the direction of that headset because it was like taped together, and the people behind the scenes had to do surgery on that headset probably 4 or 5 times a season.
I'm sure a lot of work has had to be done to get that thing to just operational.
It was like all the padding and the ears were gone, and it was I'm not sure, I don't know this for sure, but I think it's on display now in the Penguins Hall of Fame area of PPG
I
Paints
would hope
Arena.
so.
Yeah,
I would hope so. No one has ever been like him. I mean, nothing. I like Josh Getzoff and Joe Barry. They do a great job.
Oh yeah.
But nobody was ever, and I've never heard just that little pause he would do. It's like most announcers are like, he shoots and scores. It's like there was always that pause, like, hey, it's just like, just so unique, and
You could when you listen to Mike Lang do a game, you could tell by the inflection in his voice that something was about to happen.
Yeah.
Before it happened.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that they were. Yeah, you could tell that the Penguins were about to score because of the inflection in his voice. And I've never heard another announcer be quite like that or be able to do something like that.
I'm drawing a blank. Who was he's on the tip of my tongue. The guy that did the NBC NHL games. He's retired now.
Oh, Doc Emmerich.
I miss him too. He was another one that was unique.
It's like if I'm doing a hockey broadcast, Mount Rushmore, it's like Mike Lang, Doc Emmerich, and then everybody else.
Right.
I mean,
right. There might be only 2 people on that much Mount Rushmore.
I mean, there's a lot of great announcers out there, but those two, and by the way, again, not proclaiming that I'm a good friend with Doc Emmerich or anything, but I've gotten to just talk to him a couple of times in the hallway because he'll talk to you anytime you want to talk about the Pittsburgh Pirates. That's his team.
Oh, that's right.
And so I would always just say to him, like, hey, what do you think about the Pirates this year? And he would say, whatever, free agent they didn't sign. And, but what a great guy he is too. And there's nobody call a hockey game like him other than Mike Lang.
I was like when he said it's history, not prophecy.
Yeah.
He was another iconic one. And there was a time when Mike Lang would do the radio and TV at the same time. They just simulcast it. On those rare times in the 80s and 90s when they were on TV, because this was before they were on KBL, but like occasionally they would be like on Channel 2 or something like that. They had like 20 games a year on TV, but it was mostly radio. But basically it was his partners were either Steige or Phil Bork. I don't think there was anyone else.
Yeah, I don't think there were too many. I mean, he did go to television for a while.
Yeah.
And there were some different color commentators when he went to television. But yeah, I mean, Eddie Olczyk was a color guy with him as well at one point.
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And those were the three main ones: Steige, Eddie Olczyk, and Phil Bork. And all three of them were great with him, and obviously all three of them had just nothing but great things to say about him. So
I'm sure. Yeah. Yeah. I never met him, but I've never heard a bad thing about him. I've always heard he was just a great guy to hang out with. So yeah, that was a great trip down memory lane. All right. Hey, thanks so much.
All right, we'll talk again soon. Thanks for having me.
See you.